Jimmy Lee, the Jersey Outlaw, Season 2, Dangerously Funny podcast. Today, we have a very special guest who covers crime, TV, murders, all that good stuff. Her name is Lauren Conlin. Did I say that right, Laura?
You said it right. It's the easiest name to pronounce, so I hope.
I didn't want to mess that one up. But, Laura, first of all, thank you for coming and being on my first episode for Season 2. So, guys, it's now almost April of 2025. And our season, is opened up now for our comedy TV stuff that we're going to be back doing and our podcasts and stuff. And we have a new season. And Lauren was nice enough to be our first guest for the podcast. So, Lauren, first of all, tell the people a little bit about you, like in a paragraph, like what do you do?
Oh, sure. Well, thank you for having me. It's a huge honor.
My pleasure.
Right? And the first episode. I couldn't feel more special.
Oh, thank you.
So I am a podcaster. I am a reporter. I cover everything from pop culture to true crime, as you mentioned. So I got to take a break from some of the crime stuff and go into entertainment. It's a nice
mix and match.
Yeah, I mean, murder gets dark. It's not
What do you like
sleep.
best out of the two?
I do like crime.
Crime.
The best. Yes. I like to solve a puzzle. I like to give a voice to the voiceless if they need one.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a YouTube channel, Pop Crime TV. I have popcrime.tv is my website. Okay. I have a few specials out now on Fox Nation covering some of I think the most interesting cases of the year, sad cases and silly cases like Lively Baldoni. In my opinion, it's silly. I can get into that.
Let's start there. Tell me about that.
Well, it's a tough one because I don't want to seem like I'm dragging a woman if she feels a certain way. If Blake Lively felt like she was harassed on set by Justin Baldoni, it's not my place to say she wasn't. However, objectively, when you look at some of the evidence that Justin's team has released, and I know that we have not gotten to the trial yet, so I can't just speak conclusively.
What's your thought on that?
Well, I mean, this 10-minute video where Lively alleges that she was harassed and objectively it looks like two actors having chemistry in a scene.
I thought it was just an act when it started too. What's the name of the movie they were in?
It Ends With Us. It's not that good.
Well, guess what, Lord? The movie's title should be Don't End With Us, because what happened to them is, I don't know if you want to call it a miscarriage of justice, but it didn't end well.
Well,
so I think the new movie should be retitled.
The Fox Nation special, it's called It Doesn't End With Us. So if you want...
That's the name I came up with anyway.
If you want a rundown, it's about 30 minutes of this case, start to finish, the documents, and it's not obviously just me, it's defense attorneys, it's PR crisis management people. They're all giving their opinion about this and what's going to happen. And again, in my opinion, I feel like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds did try to kind of control this movie, control the narrative, and
she had the list. He obliged, and he got in trouble.
He had no choice. Listen, she was the star.
Correct. But then he did what they asked, and she still created a problem. So I kind of am leaning into what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's tough, and I don't know if we'll ever get to court. I mean, it's supposed to go to trial March of 2026, but I think that the damage that this has done and is going to do to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, their career, I think it's.
I thought the same thing. Like, why start trouble when you're already a celebrity and things aren't going bad? Why do you have to throw salt in the wound? Do you agree on that? I mean, I couldn't make any sense of it.
I do, and
that's how I looked at it.
I felt also like the smear campaign she alleged that happened in August, it was nothing compared to what is happening now after he had to release the evidence to say, hey, I'm not this creep that you're making me out to be. So, I feel like it's just not good. And then Ryan Reynolds saying that, making that joke at the SNL 50th, you know what I mean? Like
What about the Hugh Jackman portrayal thing? What do you think of that?
I mean, that's interesting.
It is interesting,
all of it is. So if you look back at Blake Lively's I guess her co-stars and the fact that she has dated her co-stars like Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern.
That was the other thing. There it is.
Right.
I kind of, the evidence doesn't point in her favor.
Penn Badgley from Gossip Girl, she falls in love with her co-stars. So is it a possibility?
And then all of a sudden now we're creating a problem.
Yeah. So and the
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman thing also, I mean, I obviously cannot speak to if this is 100% true, but there were allegations that when Ryan Reynolds was married to Scarlett Johansson and she worked with Hugh Jackman, that Ryan Reynolds was very controlling and actually said something, approaching Hugh Jackman in this way of almost a threatening way. And so he doesn't have the best reputation.
What's wrong with just Laura making a movie? What happened to that days where you just make a movie, be professional, get paid, and leave? Don't work like that no more.
It's no
You're
fun.
laughing because it's no fun. So let me ask you a question. I want to turn the tables to the double deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Cara, was it? And of course the dog. I felt, this is what my take on it. I think his pacemaker went off and the garage door opened from the pacemaker, and that's how the maintenance people found him.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean,
little joke there.
I was gonna say that's it's already kind of been determined what happened. So
well, I know why the dog died, though. Did you know why?
I do. I mean,
may I tell you why?
Please. Oh.
Well, the dog killed himself because he found out that him and Gene Hackman looked alike.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What was your take on the dog, Laura?
Oh my god.
I need to know your take on the dog.
Too soon? Is that too soon? I don't know. I feel
like. What was your take? That was my take.
No, I mean, obviously, I saw the first headline was like Gene Hackman, wife and dog found dead. And police say no foul play suspected. I was like, that is the definition.
I thought first it was carbon monoxide.
So did I. Well, and one of his daughters actually told TMZ a few hours later, I suspect it was a gas leak. But the whole no foul play, but 3 deaths, including the dog, I was like, that seems...
The dog, I'm still getting over the dog, by the way.
Well, I actually saw a segment of the Hackman's veterinarian actually going on the news literally and saying, no, they were very good dog owners because they were afraid that they would get dragged.
But Elton John was on that same set and he saw the dog dead. He said, the bitch is back.
Oh, no.
You didn't see that? You didn't see that clip on TMZ?
I did not see it. I did not. I somehow missed that. Silly
the jokes
me.
Get worse.
I mean, I have to say, I'm trying to... I'm trying to pretend that they died years ago so I can laugh and that it's not too soon for these jokes.
But it's sad.
Yes.
Because what's sadder is in the will, he left everything to the woman. He must have been estranged from his 3 children and he didn't leave any money to them, similar to Tony Curtis. That happened with him. So I find with a lot of entertainers, I don't see the close relationships with the families. And it seems like the last one in gets the money, the spouse. But I see that pattern, that metric, over and over.
Yeah,
you see that similarity there?
I do, and you have to think about his relationship with his kids because nobody called him and to check on him.
Well, that was the thing. Who cared?
Yeah.
He was dead there while she was dead before him. He didn't know she was dead. The dog died. He didn't tell anybody.
So, and his stomach contents were empty, which is so sad. He just, he
that I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, it breaks my heart to think about this poor man wandering around,
walking around. Doesn't know who he is, where he is.
Exactly.
Is sad.
And clearly not with it enough to let the dog out of the kennel. Who's clearly starving and probably crying, and the whole thing is awful.
So, the report that I read, it seems like true, like the rodent virus, the hantavirus, and then he had the atherosclerosis and he had dementia. It seems like the story they figured out and came to the conclusion. To me, it seemed logical. Do you agree with that? Seriously?
It is. I mean, there's a couple things that are a little. I mean, listen, I'm not a medical professional.
Well, you weren't
obviously.
there. We weren't there.
I
so
wasn't
we don't
there.
Really know.
Hantavirus, it's really rare, apparently it comes on very quickly. But what I find to be just so baffling and so crazy is that Betsy was out at the store that day. She was picking up stuff at the grocery store.
Makes no sense, right?
Yeah, she was booking a massage with a masseuse. Like everything was fine, and then she dropped dead. So I'm like, whoa, that is crazy.
I noticed that part too. And sometimes you wonder with reports. Really what's going on behind the scenes. You just really never know.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, I have questions, but not in the sense that I think that anything is super suspicious anymore.
Right.
I do tend to always think that things are suspicious. That's just the way my brain works. Right. It's not healthy, but...
So, I know you're involved. I watched part of your video, and you did a great job with the director. Was her name Terry?
Oh, yes.
And I was really impressed, and I said, I talked to Brad last night, and I said... Lauren's not only a beautiful young lady, she's very smart. I was listening to you, and I thought to myself, you'd probably be a great prosecuting attorney.
That's really kind.
I
That's
just
so
was
nice.
listening to how you think, and
Aw. Wow.
you're really smart. Like news, being a good lawyer. But I was listening to you, and
Keep going. Actually, how smart am I?
keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going. No, okay, yeah.
No, I'm just talking what I noticed on it. But I was watching that, and it looked like you were very compelled by that case, Karen Reed, and was the cop's name John O'Keefe?
John O'Keefe.
And
yeah.
they claimed she ran him over and had like 9 drinks and ran him over in a car. So what was? And then there was a mistrial to hung jury.
Yes, this case
So what-
is.
I know this. You love this case, so I want to hear your vibe.
I don't
want
to say I love this case. I do not love this case.
But you're compelled by this case a lot. I could tell by your interest on the YouTube.
I mean, I think that my issue with this case is that people who feel like she is innocent and people who feel like she is guilty, they are. I don't even know how to describe it. The vitriol that these people have for one another and for anyone and who says something that they don't agree with, or the way they are almost twisting things. Like,
why do you think it was a hung jury? That just threw me.
Well, the thing is, like, I've always
they just couldn't figure it out.
My content is I have always erred on the side of. It was not proven to me that she hit Officer John O'Keefe with her car. I saw the experts on the stand that were hired by the feds.
You think it was surmised?
The thing is, they said that essentially there's no way that she hit him. She would have had to have gone from like 0 to 40, backing up in like 4 seconds, which only a NASCAR driver could do. I mean, the medical examiner kind of said, I cannot determine whether or not these injuries were from a car. And I was like, there's a lot of reasonable doubt. So they had an
autopsy, and there was no concrete conclusion from them?
He died of blunt force trauma to the head, which could be a car accident, sure, or it could be I could whack you with something, right? He also died of hypothermia. So being left out
what was
in
he
the
left
snow.
out in the snow?
Yes.
So somebody, whether it was her or whoever, there's blunt force trauma and they left him to die. That's like awful.
And it's awful. And you have to unpack all of the evidence. And like I said, I'm still a little confused, but I'm not going to be scared, I guess, to say my opinion. But it's wild. Like, people were pausing my video and it looked like I was rolling my eyes or something when, Terry said something about John O'Keefe and his family, and everyone's like,
you happen to open your eyes like a little wider.
I guess.
Sometimes when you talk a little bit, but you didn't do what you just said.
No.
Your eyes just go open a little more when you're.
You don't even understand. So I've got people who think she's innocent saying this one-sided bitch about me, and then people who think she's guilty saying, look at Lauren Conlin rolling her eyes, disrespecting the family, and I'm like,
wow.
I don't even.
All you're really doing is just covering something.
That's how
I didn't see that at all with you.
Because
saw someone
because
smart.
You're normal. Like,
I saw a smart person and try to analyze it and figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah, and I think that also.
What's your gut? Do you think that she ran him over? What do you think?
So at this point, and I guess why the docuseries was so fascinating, and it's not even out yet. That was my whole thing, is because of Karen's own words.
What did she say?
She said on this docuseries a few things that I had never heard. She was like, well, what if I, like, almost thinking, like, what if I clipped him in the knee or the foot and I didn't know, and I kind of drove away and I didn't know.
Why, because she was drunk?
Because she admits to having 6 drinks.
Pleading the fifth, basically. Acting like don't know what was going on.
But why? My other question is, why would she want to talk so much? If, you know what I mean? Like, if she is guilty.
It's like OJ. The guy said, whatever you do, don't go on a stand and talk.
Yeah. I mean, most defendants are told not to get on the stand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Common sense.
Yeah. I mean, because people are going to analyze everything they say at this point. I was just confused at some of the stuff she said, and that's where I was like, well, wait. And I'm fine with saying I didn't know.
So, Laura, here's a question. I've been trying to get famous for a long time. It's not quite working. I'm known. I have notoriety, but I'm not famous. Now, let's analyze this. Luigi Mangione gets a gun December, finds the CEO of United Healthcare, shoots him on the street, kills him. Instantly famous, and he has fans. Bonnie Blue, who is a porn actress from England, has sex with over 1,000 people in 12 hours. Famous and notoriety overnight from doing something stupid. I'm a legitimate street comedian. You're a legitimate news girl. How do we get famous. I'm not killing anybody to get famous or running anybody over in a car or having sex with 1,000 people. But how does a legitimate guy or a legitimate young lady like you platform and get famous? Because I was talking to my management people and I said it's almost like anybody can get famous by doing something stupid. What happened to back when I was a kid growing up, you actually had to have talent. You're talented as a news girl. You're super smart. I'm a funny guy. But what happened to the people that actually work tirelessly, and how do people like us platform and get somewhere? Because look what's happening today, the trend.
You're right.
Now, am I wrong or right?
No, you're right. I think things have changed so much,
And now Karen Reed, they want to do a 3-part documentary on what Netflix on it. I was reading.
No, there's a 5-part docuseries that's coming out on Monday.
So here's a woman who's accused of running over her boyfriend, and now she's getting a Netflix deal.
I mean, it's Max and Warner Brothers, but yes.
But that's
correct.
the thing. So I'm trying to figure out, how do we get into the game when we're legitimate performers?
Well, okay, I just want to clarify. I don't want to be famous. I don't need.
You don't want to be famous like me.
I don't want to be famous.
What is your goal, Lauren?
I mean, my goal. I would like more eyeballs on my work because there's stuff that I'm very proud of. Right?
You do want to get known.
But I think there's a difference in. I definitely don't want quote fame. I think that fame is so dangerous.
You want to be known as doing something good with news and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I don't even know.
And admired and respected.
I don't even
like
know
that,
how legitimate I am as a news person over a podcaster because I do insert my opinion a lot. When you're, in news,
you're more a podcaster.
You only got to report and sort of state the facts. I'm more like, I want to tell you the facts, but I also want to tell you my opinion.
You're like a TMZ girl. You have your opinions and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but I agree with you. I think that it's weird and you just need to get one thing to really hit and
maybe
then
like one viral video, maybe.
That's it. And it doesn't matter who you are at this point.
So let me ask you a question. Luigi Mangione. This is interesting. He gets a gun. He goes out on the street like 7 a.m. They have the video. And he shoots 3 people. And guess what I found out?
No, he shoots one person.
One person.
Yeah,
Excuse me. He shot 3 times. I screwed that one up. Good.
It's okay.
So, Lauren, get this. I found out it wasn't him. No. Guess who it was?
Oh, God.
His twin brother.
Okay.
Giuseppe.
I don't get it. I don't. Is that someone I should know? Anybody? No?
It's such a bad joke.
Oh, my God.
Can I get a fist pump on that, Lauren?
Okay, wow. I was like, is this a name I should know?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
No, I wanted to throw a curveball at you. But now that we're talking about Luigi Mangione, I had spoke to the family, and I said the least he could have done was had a plate of pasta, a little prosciutto parma, a little melon, maybe a little tiramisu before he went out.
Is it time? I mean, I feel like it's time for me to go. Is that? Are we up yet?
No, I'm being cute with you. I wanted to throw. I want to shed light on it and be silly, but I want to talk seriously because one thing I'll tell you about that case. I've been following that since the beginning because I couldn't believe what happened. So on a serious note, I would love to hear from you, your take on that.
I'm with you. I could not believe it either.
I just couldn't believe it.
Well, what I couldn't believe, I mean, obviously a lot of things I couldn't, but for me, I was just fascinated with the fact that there are over 8,000 security cameras in Manhattan alone. I believe it's something like that. I think it's 30,000 across all 5 boroughs. And so I'm thinking, okay.
You mean when he came off the helicopter?
Well, it's no. I'm talking about surveillance footage. So when they couldn't find him, I'm going back to the beginning.
You're going way back.
Yeah, when they couldn't find him, I was like, well, this is crazy. We have so many cameras. And he did this in Midtown Manhattan where the camera density is like, it's crazy. It's like,
right.
it's, so, and again, so many questions, about just his path and when we saw him coming into Central Park, coming out, I followed and traced all of his steps. I literally went to the hostel. I went to.
Did you really?
I did. I went everywhere.
You're amazing. Did you interview some of the people?
I did. The hostel workers didn't want to talk to me. I went to a couple bodegas because I'm like, this guy was here for 11 days. He definitely went to all the surrounding businesses.
People in the hostel wouldn't talk to you.
Nope. The businesses said, we already talked to cops. We're not going to say anything. And I was like, fine. My daughter was actually with me. We were going to a birthday party. And I'm like, we just got to make one stop. And she's
You're
like,
cute. You're just determined. You're a determined girl.
I was so
I
interested.
love you. You're like me. You're just going to go.
Yeah.
You don't give a shit.
And
I
my
love
daughter,
you, Laura.
she was
You're
like,
great.
she was like, Mom, no one
can't
wants
do
to
it.
talk to you. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
And you know what you're going to do? You're going to keep trying.
Yeah.
That's why you'll make it.
I'm not embarrassed. I mean, I'm an embarrassing person, yes, but
That's
I'm not
why I love
embarrassed.
you. So Laura, you couldn't get anywhere with any reports back to you when you tried to get information?
I could not, but it was helpful to trace his steps and seeing how many more cameras were there. And also, when I went to, I live right by Central Park, so I went over when the dive teams were diving into, it was the lake, and I was like, this is only 6 feet deep total. Why are they wasting their time? There's no way he threw a gun in here. How do they know this? Why are they wasting all their resources? And then, you know, I thought about this, and it's like, how often do you see the NYPD dive team actually work? You don't. They gotta pay.
Never do.
They literally have to do something to make themselves worthwhile. So they're just like, oh, this looks good.
Their opportunity to do something to look good. Yeah.
Because he had the gun on him.
That one I do agree with you on. Yeah. When he got caught. Yeah. So the whole thing is all the evidence when they found him at the McDonald's. And I had texted him twice. I said, try the quarter pounder. I mean, he was eating like fish and chips. I said, you're not in England. God. But he didn't listen to me. But anyway, they caught him with all this stuff and the notepad that explained, you know, everything with all evidence that's so obvious. Yet now he has thousands of fans, people sending him money on his GoFundMe page.
Yeah.
He has an attorney who used to be the DA with her husband, who's probably the best she can buy.
Karen Agnifilo.
Agnifilo. And, you know, you wonder, OJ, you know what happened there. He got off. You wonder, will this guy, Laura, you have a video of it. Will this guy get off?
I don't think it's
How
a matter.
can he get off?
I don't think it's a matter of him getting off. I mean, look, I think
Lesser
that
of a penalty, you think?
There's federal charges and there's state charges.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 different trials.
Yeah.
I think that in Pennsylvania, they might have some issues with, you know, they searched his bag. They didn't get a search warrant. And like, granted, there's a lot that the police could say about this. Well, we thought.
So the protocol wasn't followed, but the evidence is there, Laura.
But they can argue that it was followed because they thought that this was the guy. Maybe people were in danger. So listen, I don't.
That's
going to
come
out.
100%,
Yeah, that's going to come out at trial. But I think that his lawyers, there's a lot to argue there. I went down to the courthouse actually maybe 2 weeks ago for his last hearing, and were
you able to get in?
No, that wasn't my goal. My goal was to talk to the freak shows that were supporting him. And look.
You talked to his so-called fans.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here
what was your take on that? That's weird.
Well, like, I just want to be clear. I am not sitting here saying that, like, healthcare is I know that it's messed up. I know that it's very broken.
I'm a dentist. I
system.
can't get insurance companies to pay me. That's my other job, you know.
Well,
I can't, they don't want to pay anything.
Yeah.
So that's correct. I'm not going to go shoot somebody because of that. I got to figure out to get more private patients in and get more income from my patients paying.
Exactly.
I'm not going to cause anybody harm.
It's so true. And it's kind of like, what are you thinking? Exactly. It's just, so it was silly. And so I actually really wanted to understand some of these people if they supported murder or if they are protesting the healthcare system.
So what do you think the take is that, are they fascinating because they say, oh, he's young and nice looking guy? What do you think it is that would draw people to go for and cheer on a murderer?
Well,
Can you help me on that one?
I will admit that I talked to maybe 2 or 3 people who were of sound mind saying, I'm just kind of here because the healthcare system has effed me over, whatever. And I'm like, fine, you're fine.
So that was a normal person.
Maybe almost. 2 or 3 of them, yeah, who had a decent story.
Rest of them.
One girl, and also I thought to myself, why am I here alone when these people are so unhinged? They know I'm trolling them. It's like kind of obvious what I'm doing.
You should be with some friends or a guy.
I mean, I could turn around and they're going to, I don't know. They were scared. But anyway.
Laura, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I thought about this after.
So when you were talking to the people, what did some of the unhinged ones say? I love to hear their take.
Oh, yeah. And I have this video on you. Do I have it? I have it on TikTok, I think. I live stream for an hour, but I put it on TikTok, my TikTok. And one girl said, these are my favorite responses. She said, looked at me and said, no, more CEOs should be assassinated. That's how we fix this. I was like, I'm sorry, no.
So they think violence is the answer and they agree with him,
One
which is wrong.
One girl said to me that it wasn't Luigi Mangione, it was a bug called the Egyptian scarab bug. I'm not kidding. She told me, looked at me.
People are actually psychotic, to be honest. What did somebody else say?
Well, then I had this woman who had this shirt. It said Cougars from Mangione, and she goes,
"Oh
"Well,
my God.
I don't know if he did it or not. It hasn't been proven that he did
hot.
it." But I was like, if you don't know if he did it or not, I don't understand why you're here supporting what he did. You guys don't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like it's so weird.
So what was her answer to that?
Her answer? Oh, this woman actually stared me down. Like this was weird.
So you're actually making an enemy just trying to ask a question.
She had no answer, so she looked at me like this, and then all of a sudden, everybody around me, it got really quiet, and I was like, I'm very awkward in general, so I was like looking this way, looking that way, and I was like, do I say something? Do you want the interview to be done now?
What did you do?
I don't remember exactly. I think I did that. I said, do you want us to be done now? Is that cool? Like I don't know.
That's funny, Laura.
Yeah.
So Laura, when you left there, what was your take?
I felt a little sad, to be honest.
Yeah.
It felt a little sad. It felt like that. I mean, no one is ever going to be on the same page, right?
You're right.
But,
and then let's flip the coin because he's got a partner guy in jail who's accused of P. Diddy Coombs, who's accused of sexual allegations, and the girlfriend was her name Cassie Ventura, Cassie Ventura, who was in the elevator, and there's a video of him beating him up, and then the comedian Kat,
I love him.
Who's so funny. We did a show with him years ago in Philly, and he said the truth. I went to parties, and there was always shit going on with him. Mm-hmm. And then he lied 15 or 20 years ago in a video where he said, I forget what he said, but he said something like, oh, I don't recall that ever happening. And like he's an awful liar, by the way.
Oh, that was my video probably that you saw.
Oh, well then maybe I watched you.
Yeah, that was probably mine.
Yeah.
It was, yes.
Was that you?
Yes, because
he said something like,
yes.
What did he say, Laura?
Well, it was
such a blatant lie.
It was such a lie. And I said, I'm no expert, but he's like, you know, I heard that too.
Yeah,
like,
he said, that's what he said. I
heard
heard that too. Like he has no idea what's going on.
A reporter had asked him in the late 90s about
your video
a record executive.
That's what it was, a record executive.
Getting beat up, yeah.
That's what it was, yeah.
It turns out it was Diddy and his bodyguards who used a phone, champagne bottles, their fists. They beat the shit out of this guy.
So he's all about violence, and somebody said he does sexual trafficking on girls, and he's really mean to his girlfriends. And
he's accused of this, yeah.
How was he not put in jail sooner? Why didn't somebody actually kill him? Because eventually, Laura, you hit the wrong person. Mm-hmm. And if you hit one wrong person, you walk out of a bar or restaurant one night. The same thing happened to the mob guy at Spark Steakhouse. You walk out, guy drives by in a car, and they shoot you and kill you. I'm surprised that never happened to him.
I mean, I think...
You know I'm right.
I think
because you know this stuff's true.
Yeah,
oh, you think people have tried?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I mean, I think that Diddy, for a long time, clearly he really seemed to have control over, I don't want to say
empire and
I'm not going
to
say the DOJ because like these obviously are federal charges, but he definitely had control locally. I mean, if you look at some of the, you know, with Shine, that case from the early 2000s, I mean, J-Lo wasn't even a witness, okay? They did not call J-Lo to the stand, even though she was with them that night. She fled. Yeah. She allegedly had the gun. I mean, it was... What happened with that? You've got the girl that he shot at the nightclub who was dragged she was shot in the face and she had to testify and she was dragged. He had this power over.
I think it was money, just paying people.
I think that he has really.
What do you think?
I mean, he's his own mafia, in my opinion. I mean,
like
it is
black mafia. Yeah,
and
that's what I thought.
But however, I don't
the threats and stuff. I kind of am leaning into what you just said.
Yeah,
that's sad. But now do you think with him in jail, finally, now all these women, they keep coming out one by one. I think he's done. I think his ass is done.
Well, these are civil suits versus his federal case. So I think that his federal case is. I think they've got a really strong case there. I really do. I think that the civil suits, I think there's going to be some issue because the lawyer that has been filing most of these, Tony Busby, he was just, I think it was a couple weeks ago, he's not allowed to practice in New York anymore. Oh, there's been some questionable things about him, and I'm not trying to help Diddy out. Like, I don't want to help the guy out here.
Just weird how things happen.
Yeah, because I believe a lot of these suits are, God, they're horrible. I believe these people, but there was a couple, and it's funny because I did a whole like live stream on this, the girl that accused Jay-Z and Diddy and stuff. I just said to myself when I went through it, I'm not trying to make any assumptions, but a lot of this doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you why. She's 13 years old, this girl. And by the way, she came out and said it didn't happen. That's why I feel comfortable saying this. So I was like, oh, I was kind of right.
So what are you getting mixed messages, Laura?
No,
with the different girls' reports almost.
Well, she said like she's 13 when this happened. That's very young. That's 8th grade maybe. So
or 9th, freshman in high school. Yeah.
So she talks about she gets essentially gang, and then she but she's drugged. So she's coming out of this GHB haze, whatever. And she describes walking to the nearest gas station, pitch black at night. I have this thing I use for background checks. I found all of Sean Combs' addresses in New Jersey. The nearest gas station was like a 55-minute walk. And I'm like, there's no street lights. Yeah. So I'm like, you're telling me a 13-year-old girl on GHB made her way to a gas, just didn't go next door to be like, help me? I couldn't make sense of that.
That's a fakie.
And it might not be, right? There could be lots of...
You investigated where it's probably not accurate, is what you're saying. Based on what you
in my opinion, but anything can happen, right? So I don't want to totally rule it out, but I did have some things and some questions where I was like, what? I was an idiot at 13. Sorry, I'll say. I was an idiot at 13.
So
and
let me ask you this. It sounds like, based on talking to you about this, that he's finally going to get his. That's what it sounds like.
I think he's in big trouble.
Yeah.
There was an added charge of forced labor. He just pled not guilty to yesterday in court, actually. So, I mean, now he's being accused of forcing his employees to work exceptionally long hours on no sleep, no food, and it's just wild what's coming out. I mean, his empire is crumbling, that's for sure.
All right. So, Laura, a couple other things before we break here. Fox Nation, can you tell us a little bit about your TV stuff you do? Love to hear that.
Yeah, well, so there are 3 specials out, actually, and we've talked about everything that I comment on in these specials. So there's we did a Luigi Mangione special in December. Okay. It's called Deny, Delay, Defend.
Okay. That was throwing the bullets, right?
Yep, exactly.
I remember that.
Exactly. And then
that's nice,
a Karen Reed 2-part special with Judge Janine is the narrator for that special. It's really good, I think. And then Baldoni Lively, which came out last week.
Okay. And do you have anything coming up, or are you still doing the Karen Reed thing?
No, I'm not. I cover so much stuff. I would say there's this horrible case out of Kansas and Oklahoma, and there's a show called Crime Nation. You can stream all the episodes now. Season 2 on Hulu. The Kansas Moms case, I was a big part of that episode. It's a horror. It's like not even, it's 2 women, 2 moms that went missing and they turned up murdered out of Kansas and Oklahoma, but it's a custody battle. It's awful. And the case is not even adjudicated yet. There are 5 defendants in this case and it's so heartbreaking. But
what is it? Who murdered them?
Well, I have to say allegedly, but it was mother-in-law and her 4 friends, I guess you could say. And that's strange. It's awful.
But 2 women they killed, not
2 women. 2 women. It, like I said, it's a horrible case.
What's wrong with just being normal and just having a regular job anymore and getting paid and sleeping at night? What happened to those days, Laura?
Also, do you ever think about the husbands and the wives that kill each other? Just get a divorce. Why do you have to kill each other? Why can't you just leave each other?
Keep things simple.
What? I mean, it's so weird.
So, Laura, let me ask you this. Number one, I really like meeting you, and you're very good to do the podcast with, and I appreciate you coming. You're, I guess, in your 30s, right?
Oh, sure.
No, younger? Oh. A little older? Whatever. Like you're a young kid.
Yes, I'm in my 30s.
So you're in your 30s. And I only ask that because what are your aspirations? And if I said to you, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? You want to elevate your career, maybe be an anchor on Fox? What do you, where do you see your career going?
No, I don't.
Mine's going in the shitter, but where's yours going?
Yours is not. You're a lovely person.
I'm a funny guy.
You're a lovely person. I mean, your jokes, I would say,
are they borderline?
I felt like your jokes today, I'm going to have to listen to them again. Were
they not too good?
I feel like they could have been better.
Fair to middling?
They're okay.
I'll do better. We'll do better. On the street, they're always better.
Okay, fine.
Because I'm on a podcast, I have to platform you and talk serious. Oh. But on the street, it's wild and crazy.
Yeah, and I've seen
it's a little different of a platform.
You are a funny guy. But however, I feel like this wasn't your fault. We're talking about really heavy stuff. So,
correct. And the last thing I want to do is not give you your time and be considerate. But I want to know, where do you see Lauren Conlin in 5 years? Where do you want to be?
I would never want to be an anchor. I would never want to do any of that. I think that's a totally different path, and I respect everybody who does. You like the podcast, the freedom to express your opinion. I do.
And you seem that you're smart and you research and you like to just not read off a teleprompter facts. Yeah. You like to insert what Lauren's thinking.
I do, and I think you
And
know,
that's nice. And that's you.
yeah, and I really enjoy doing the TV stuff and
You do that often, the Fox Nation or here and there.
I mean, it's funny. It just kind of started for me this year. I started getting these different gigs, and it's been really nice. And again, when it comes to certain cases like Kansas moms, it feels really good to tell these stories for these people that can't speak for themselves anymore.
Yeah, you're speaking for you're a voice of the people almost.
Yeah, and I feel like, if I had a chance to really drag like a pedophile, for example, I would love that. I would just go and I would just be like, I want to, if you did something bad and you did something unspeakable, I want to make sure everyone knows about it. And I want to make sure that everybody hates you for it. That might be a little harsh, I guess, but there are really bad people in the world. And yeah.
I agree. Tell people a little bit. You write for Nicki Swift. You write for grunge. Do you write for
I did. I stopped. I got a little busy for that.
Too busy doing that.
Yeah. So I guess.
So you're not writing as much. You're just doing the podcasts and the TV now.
Well, I write for my own website, popcrime.tv.
Okay.
And my podcast.
Yes.
I mean, it's Pop Crime TV, but it's also the outlier on audio platforms everywhere. But I enjoy doing all of that. So
You're a crime girl.
I think I am.
You should hook up with John Walsh. Remember John Walsh?
Oh, I know John Walsh. I know John Walsh.
Tell people, Laura, on my podcast, how to find you on social media. What are your buttons?
Yes. I'm at Lauren Emily Conlin on Instagram, Conlin_Lauren on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days. Lauren Conlin 4 on TikTok, and then my YouTube at Pop Crime TV.
And which social media is your best driver, if I may ask?
Oh, that's interesting.
What's your best
I have
one?
the most followers on TikTok, but it's also weird. They censor a lot of my content. Yeah, and Instagram I enjoy, but I'm kind of a savage for Twitter. I love the fact that I can be a savage on Twitter and nobody sees
Twitter
what I
and
like.
TikTok?
Yeah, I just feel like on Instagram, if I like something that's offensive to somebody, you would never hear the end of it. On X, Elon has made it very clear that nobody will know what you like. So I'm like,
they'll just keep not editing it.
Like Elon, you can't see what anyone likes. Like you can like the most offensive post and nobody will know.
You can do anything. Okay, so
because my mom will be like, "You like this?" Like she'll screenshot it, like I saw this and you already liked it, and I'm like, it'll be something.
So
awful.
Instagram's the one you're a little more careful on.
Yeah, it's just no fun. It's like everybody is just politically correct and up each other's ass for whatever.
All right, so guys, Jimmy Lee, the Jersey Outlaw, Lauren Conlin, TV reporter, Fox Nation, podcaster, Pop Crime TV.
Sure, yes.
We loved having you for our first episode. Stay tuned, guys. Episode 2 is coming up in a couple weeks. It's a big surprise. I'm not even going to tell you who it is, but make sure you come. We're going to sign off here. MCM Studios in New York City. Thanks for having us. Guys, we'll see you back in 2 weeks.